কম্পাস বিহনে।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina instructs to take stern actions against extortion in transportation of goods to keep prices under control. 16 more parliamentary standing committees on different ministries formed today. What will BNP say now as US President expressed willingness to work together with Bangladesh, questions Obaidul Qadir. Dhaka welcomes Joe Biden's letter to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina as US-Bangla relationship reaching a new height, says Dr. Hassan Mahmood. "95 members of Myanmar's border guards take shelter in Bangladesh as severe gun battle going on in Myanmar's Rakhine state. 30 more Palestinians killed in airstrikes amid continuous Israeli attacks in Gaza. And India beat England by 106 runs in the second match of 5-match series in Visakhapatnam. Assalamu alaikum. This is Suli Komalika Das welcoming you all to News at 10. You have just heard the highlights, now on to the details.
এই বাংলার মাটির থেকে দুর্নীতিবাদ, এই ঘুষখোর, এই মুনাফাখোরি, এই চুয়াচারদের নির্মূল করতে হবে। আমিও প্রতিজ্ঞা নিয়েছি, তোমরাও প্রতিজ্ঞা নাও, বাংলার জনগণও প্রতিজ্ঞা গ্রহণ করুন।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has directed the authorities concerned to take stern action against extortion in transporting goods to control the prices of commodities. The Prime Minister gave the directive at a meeting with the secretaries at the Prime Minister's office this morning. During the meeting, the Prime Minister reiterated the issue of zero tolerance against corruption. This is the first meeting of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in the current tenure with the top officials and secretaries of the administration. At the meeting, the Prime Minister directed the secretaries to perform their respective duties, maintaining self-confidence and self-respect. The meeting discussed the election manifesto, price control, preparation for Ramadan, food security situation, agricultural production and fertilizer management, new curriculum and work-oriented education, power and energy security, implementation of development projects, law and order management and inflation. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has asked the secretaries to be careful while taking new projects. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina put emphasis on diversification of export products and exploring new countries to accelerate the economy. After the meeting, Cabinet Secretary Muhammad Mahbub Hussain briefed the reporters at the Secretariat. Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan has said the government has taken initiatives to equip the existing fire service and civil defense stations across the country with modern equipment. He said this during the question-answer session in the Parliament today. The session resumed with Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhary in the chair this afternoon. Replying to a question, the Home Minister told the Parliament that 2,817 smugglers were arrested in the last 1 year. During this period, stolen goods and a large amount of drugs worth of 1,997 crore taka were seized by the Bangladesh Border Guard BGB. A total of 16 parliamentary standing committees on different ministries were formed in the Jatiya সংসদ today. Later, a general discussion was held on Thanksgiving motion to President's speech. The sitting of the House will resume in the afternoon tomorrow. Awami League General Secretary and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir said US President Joe Biden has written a letter to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina expressing willingness to work together to achieve economic goals of Bangladesh. At the same time, Obaidul Qadir also asked what BNP will say now. He made the comments while addressing a view exchange meeting with journalists in Dhaka this afternoon.
BNP কে জিজ্ঞেস করে অতঃপর এখন আপনারা কি বলবেন, কোন আশায় বসে থাকবেন? দেশে জনগণও নেই, বিদেশি বন্ধুরাও বিএনপি কে ছেড়ে চলে গেছে। যে যুক্তরাষ্ট্রের উপর তাদের সবচেয়ে বেশি ভরসা, সেই যুক্তরাষ্ট্র অবশেষে প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা সরকারের সঙ্গে একসঙ্গে কাজ করার অঙ্গীকার করেছে। এই অবস্থা বিএনপির এখন সরকার হটানোর অথবা সরকারে যাওয়ার উপায়টা।
The minister said Bangladesh will not involve itself with the conflict on Myanmar border. At the same time, he also hoped that the crisis would be solved through the intervention of the United Nations. Obaidul Qadir said Bangladesh will not show any generosity to any new Rohingya arrival due to the ongoing conflict.
2-3টি গ্রামের জনগণ বাড়িঘর ছেড়ে চলে গেছে। আমাদের জন্য এটা একটা উদ্বেগের বিষয়। তারা যতই প্রভোকেশন দেয়, আমরা কোনো প্রতিক্রিয়া ব্যক্ত করব না। আমরা যুদ্ধের পক্ষে নয়, আমরা আলাপ আলোচনার মাধ্যমেই সমস্যার সমাধানে আগ্রহী। আমরা আহ্বান করব এই কনফ্লিক্ট পার্শ্ববর্তী দেশের জন্য আতঙ্কের কারণ হয়, এমন কনফ্লিক্টের সমাধান তাদের নিজেদেরই করা উচিত এবং এই ব্যাপারে জাতিসংঘের তত্ত্বাবধানে একটা সমাধান হতে পারে।
Organizing secretaries of Awami League BM Mozammel Haq and SM Kamal Hossain were present at the View Exchange meeting. As many as 95 members of Myanmar's Border Guard Police (BGP) took shelter in Bangladesh following clashes inside Myanmar. The Border Guard Bangladesh unarmed the BGP personnel and kept them in secured places. Severely injured members of Myanmar's border guards are undergoing treatment in Cox's Bazar Shodor Hospital. Meanwhile, gun battle between government forces and rebels in Myanmar is continuing. In view of the situation, Bangladesh's border guards intensified patrol on borders. Besides, in order to avoid risks, 7 schools remain shut since Sunday. Movements on a number of roads have also been restricted. European Union Ambassador to Bangladesh Charles Whitley has said the European Union EU wants to increase investment and trade in Bangladesh. The EU envoy came up with the information while talking to reporters after a meeting with Finance Minister A.H. Mahmood Ali at his Secretariat office today. EU Ambassador Charles Whitley said important issues were discussed at the meeting. He said the EU is emphasizing on easing Bangladesh's graduation from the LDC status. US President Joe Biden wrote to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina expressing eagerness to work together for attaining Bangladesh's economic goals. Welcoming the letter of Joe Biden, Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood said the relationship between Bangladesh and the USA is reaching a new height. He said this to journalists at his ministry office today after ending his Brussels tour on the occasion of the 3rd EU Indo-Pacific Ministerial Forum. Regarding the Myanmar issue, Dr. Hassan Mahmood said members of the country's border guards took shelter in Bangladesh. The government of Myanmar is keeping in touch with Bangladesh, though there will be no new crises over the issue, he added. The foreign minister said Bangladesh's border guards BGB remain alert on borders. Earlier, Libyan ambassador to Bangladesh Abdul Muttalib S. Sulaiman and Thailand's ambassador Makhawari Sumitmo paid courtesy calls on Foreign Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood. They discussed different bilateral issues as well as Rohingyas repatriation.
প্রত্যেকই মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী পুনরায় দেশের প্রধানমন্ত্রী নির্বাচিত হওয়ায় তাকে অভিনন্দন জানিয়েছে, নতুন সরকারকে অভিনন্দন জানিয়েছে এবং আমরা আশা করি যে ভবিষ্যতের দিনগুলোতে ইন্দো প্যাসিফিক রিজিয়নের কান্ট্রিগুলোর সাথে এবং বিশেষ করে ইউরোপের দেশগুলোর সাথে এবং এজ এ হোল ইউরোপিয়ান ইউনিয়নের সাথে আমাদের পার্টনারশিপ কোঅপারেশন আরও বিস্তৃত হবে, আরও স্ট্রেংথেন হবে। বাংলাদেশের অর্থনৈতিক সমৃদ্ধি আনয়নের ক্ষেত্রে আমাদের যে লক্ষ্য, সেই লক্ষ্য পূরণের ক্ষেত্রে তারা আমাদের সাথে একযোগে কাজ করবেন এবং ইন্টারন্যাশনাল পিস অ্যান্ড সিকিউরিটি ইস্যুতে, রোহিঙ্গা ইস্যুতে, এনভায়রনমেন্টাল প্রোটেকশন অ্যান্ড ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জ ইস্যুতে একসাথে কাজ করার অভিপ্রায় ব্যক্ত করেছেন। আমরা এই চিঠিকে উষ্ণ অভিনন্দন জানাই। আমরা মনে করি যুক্তরাষ্ট্রের সাথে আমাদের সম্পর্ক অত্যন্ত ভালো এবং যুক্তরাষ্ট্রের প্রেসিডেন্টের এই চিঠির মাধ্যমে আমাদের সম্পর্ক আরো উন্নত হবে এবং আমাদের সম্পর্ক ভিন্ন মাত্রায় পৌঁছাবে।
Moving on to the international news. Rescue teams search for survivors as local authorities say 30 people were killed in Israeli air attacks on safe homes and a mosque in central Gaza. Reports say health workers, patients and displaced Palestinians trapped inside al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City are completely terrified. Videos show Israeli snipers killing at least 7 Palestinians nearby. At least 27,365 people have been killed and 66,130 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. The revised death toll in Israel from the October 7th Hamas attacks stands at 1,139. The U.S. carried out more strikes against Houthi missiles in Yemen on Sunday, U.S. Central Command CENTCOM said in a statement. CENTCOM said U.S. forces struck a land attack cruise missile and 4 anti-ship missiles that were prepared to launch against ships in the Red Sea. The latest action comes a day after joint U.S.-UK strikes on Houthi targets. It follows continued attacks by the Iran-backed group on military and commercial ships in the Red Sea. The Houthis' attacks have forced major shipping companies to avoid the waterway, impacting international trade. Egypt has said its revenue from the Suez Canal plunged by almost half in January, with the number of ships traveling through the key trade artery last month down by more than a third. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken landed in Saudi Arabia today to kick off his latest regional crisis trip aimed at securing a new truce in the Israel-Hamas war. The top U.S. diplomat's fifth trip to the region comes amid retaliatory U.S. strikes on Iran-backed militia across Syria, Iraq and Yemen in response to a drone strike last week in Jordan that killed 3 American troops and wounded dozens. Meanwhile, a senior U.S. official briefed reporters en route to Riyadh, saying that Blinken will nevertheless try to reinforce the message that the Biden administration neither seeks war with Iran nor wants the conflict to spread further. Blinken is also set to visit Egypt, Qatar and Israel this week and push to advance the Egyptian and Qatari-mediated conversations with Hamas to achieve a hostage deal. At least 112 people have been killed by forest fires in Chile's Valparaiso region, local authorities have said. Chile's President Gabriel Boric declared a state of emergency and said he would make all necessary resources available to tackle the situation. It is believed to be Chile's deadliest forest fire on record. Many of those affected were visiting the coastal region during the summer holidays. A health alert was put in place in Valparaiso by the Health Ministry. Rescue services have struggled to reach the most badly affected areas, and Interior Minister Carolina Toja said the death toll would reach much higher figures in the coming hours. The Chilean government has urged people not to travel to the areas hit by the fires. Back to national news. A Noakhali court today sentenced 10 people to death and 6 others to life imprisonment in a case filed over gang raping a woman in Subornochor Upojila on the night of the 11th general election. The court also fined them 50,000 each. In default, lifers would have to serve 2 more years in jail. Judge of Noakhali Women and Children Repression Prevention Tribunal 2, Fatima Firdaus, delivered the verdict. According to the case statement, on the 30th of December in 2018, the victim was gang raped in her house led by local Ruhul Amin, while her husband and children were tied up right beside her. Now, news on weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light rain or drizzle is likely to occur at one or two places over Mymensingh, Chattogram and Sylhet divisions, and weather may remain mainly dry with temporary partly cloudy sky elsewhere over the country. Moderate to dense fog may occur over the river basins of the country during late night to morning. Night and day temperature may rise slightly over the country, said the Met Office. Now news on sports. India defeated England by 106 runs in the second test of the 5-match series in Visakhapatnam. As a result, Rohit Sharma's team levelled the series by 1-1. Chasing a target of 399 set by India to win, England were bowled out for 292 in the second innings on the fourth day. India scored 396 runs in the first innings and 255 runs in the second innings. England scored 253 runs in the first innings. India's Jasprit Bumrah was adjudged man of the match for his 9 wickets in 2 innings. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka defeated Afghanistan by 10 wickets in the only test in Colombo. On the fourth day, the Lankans crossed the modest target of 56 runs given by the Afghans without losing any wickets. Afghanistan were bowled out for 198 runs in the first innings and 296 in the second innings. Sri Lanka scored 439 runs in the first innings. Sri Lankan bowler Prabhat Jayasuriya was adjudged man of the match for his 8-wicket haul in 2 innings. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina instructs to take stern actions against extortion in transportation of goods to keep prices under control. 16 more parliamentary standing committees on different ministries formed today. What will BNP say now as US President expressed willingness to work together with Bangladesh? Questions Obaidul Qadir. Dhaka welcomes Joe Biden's letter to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina as US-Bangla relationship reaching a new height, says Dr. Hassan Mahmood. "95 members of Myanmar's border guards take shelter in Bangladesh as severe gun battle going on in Myanmar's Rakhine state. 30 more Palestinians killed in airstrikes amid continuous Israeli attacks in Gaza. And India beat England by 106 runs in the second match of the 5-match series in Visakhapatnam. That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us. We invite you to watch our next Bangla News Bulletin at